First of all, thank you so much for having me. My name is Hooria. I'm a feminist and educator and education defender of Afghanistan, right now based in Canada. I work at the intersection of gender equality, language and literature, and a bit of advocacy. Currently, since 2023, I've founded an non-for-profit in Canada called the Education Defenders Network. It was due to the situation back in my home country and girls' access to education, the struggle. We've taught coming up with the global platform where we could give access to activists, to defenders from any country. They could have access to our platform, and we could use it as a coalition, as a network whenever we are doing our advocacy work. That's the very first thing that I'm really passionate about and I would like to highlight here. The second part of my work is more coming in as a practitioner, as a gender advocate, but more as a gender specialist, a women studies specialist. I work as program coordinator with the feminist collective organization based in Toronto. It's Times Change Women Employment Service. It's a charity organization and non-for-profit with over 50 years of experience supporting job seekers, women-identified job seekers, and their career advancing journey, and also supporting them with their resumes, finding a job, and offering wraparound support. With this organization, I manage a program called Edit Her. The program is funded by Women in Gender Equality Canada. It's a gender equity systemic change initiative. Through this program, we work closely with employers and businesses based in Toronto, GTA, and we offer mentorship and sponsorship as two models to support women's career advancement and leadership opportunity, with a focus on equity deserving women that they are coming at the intersection of their identities and with extra struggles. That's my practitioner hat. But I also work as an educator, as a part-time educator with an organization called Heaven Refugees. It's a charity organization based in Toronto, but we work across Canada. We offer online classes and language skill development to immigrants and refugees fleeing war, coming from different countries and securing safety in Canada. So that's kind of my work. As you can see, it is informed from the knowledge and the studies I've done. I've had my first master's done in language and literature. Then, due to my interest in gender equity and women's studies, I've pursued, I completed my second master's in arts in gender and women's studies. And that's where I come in. Sometimes I'm an educator. I work in a very practical level. I hold classes. I teach, which I'm really passionate about. And then I come in as an advocate. I talk about access to education. I talk about gender equality, feminism, women's rights, women's economic empowerment. That's the few hats that I have, and that's what I do. Yep, sure. I think everything started in August 2021 upon Taliban's arrival and second siege in Kabul. So at the start, what I remember respond to what was going on and was happening was basically denial, saying that no, it's not happening, it's not true, because I've been working with government and I was in these meetings and they will keep saying that the Taliban won't enter Kabul, there will be a peace agreement, everything is smooth. But then it happened. And that's where, similar to all other leaders and activists, I was working with the Afghan government at the capacity of General Director for Kindergarten, with Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs at the very policy and programming level. And prior to that, my position was a Deputy Program Director for Women's Economic Empowerment with the same ministry. So my portfolio with the ministry was looking at women's economic empowerment, early childhood care programming. So with what happened at their arrival and the very first thing, shutting down everything and saying that stay in your homes, don't come out, specifically for women and girls, and shutting schools' doors, universities, colleges, everything. I guess from there it started, and we contacted different organizations that they were supporting and running evacuation operations. I was fortunate enough to be able to take my family and be part of one of these evacuation operations and get exiled in one of the third countries in Albania. So we've stayed there, and from there we've applied to the humanitarian stream of Canada's government. Back then it was a program specific to Afghan citizens due to the situation in Afghanistan and Taliban's arrival. And specifically, I've applied for the stream where it says leaders, women leaders, and gender advocates. I've got approved. It took some time, of course, like more than 5 to 6 months, where they reviewed our documents and everything. And once approved, we've arrived here. It was early 2022. That's where we've got the opportunity, and we're blessed to be in a safe country. Yeah. Sure. After arrival, I guess that those first early weeks and months are all about settlement, all about finding a new place, filling those IRCC forms, going through different steps, making sure that you know where you are and what is expected of you in the early first 1 to 3 months. So after completing that and securing a place for myself and my family members, I was able to start working with one of the largest organizations in Toronto GTA called Achieve. I started working as a program manager of employment and newcomer services. So it all started from there. While I was working really at the program level with my professional background and knowledge I had in gender equity and systemic change initiatives, but I've had this voice in my head that what is about my responsibility towards back home? What is happening? And I was monitoring what's happening on the ground. I was actively in the platforms where we were discussing what to do, what is next. There was a little bit hope, especially the first 6 months after Taliban's arrival in Kabul. So I'm talking about 2021, after August, that there will be something, there will be an intervention, they will be taken away, we'll get this opportunity. It's just something temporary. I was also one of those individuals that I had such hope. But after 6 months, I guess I got the answer and I was kind of, no, it's right now it's more about next steps, but also brainstorming, reaching out to the community, talking with other activists, figuring out what we can do. We couldn't do anything while being in a third country waiting due to our legal status, not having work permits. Even there, we've advocated. I was part of the advocacy bodies, holding some sessions talking about the importance of education and why it matters for Afghan women and girls to have access to education, public life, civic life, and democratic frameworks, like any other girl and woman globally. But after arriving here, I've noticed that there is an opportunity, there is a platform. So besides that, I'm really glad that we were able to have Canada's support in being able to resettle here. What's next? What they offer in terms of the opportunity to come up with a platform where we can collectively work. Because back then it was Hooria talking in Toronto, X talking in British Columbia, and someone else is talking in Calgary. I wanted a platform to bring everyone on the table and then give them this opportunity that they can have their voices raised. I think it was March 2023 where we started talking about what should be the name of this platform, where we can framework, should be a charity, a non-for-profit, just an online platform or what. And then we figure out, and by May 2023, we've registered our organization as a non-for-profit organization and we've named it Education Defenders and we called it a network. So there was a lot of back and forth in terms of should we call it a coalition, education activists, or there were different perspectives. But my dear friend and my current partner with EDN, Rahim Jami, back then we decided that in terms of the wording, we'd like to go ahead with Education Defenders because the word defender is really heavy in terms of what they're doing. Activists, it comes with more with a bit of practice and knowledge, but defender could be anyone, regardless of their background, regardless of their position, where they are, they can talk about the matter, different backgrounds. So that's where we decided we've registered the platform and we've started reaching out to communities globally, individuals and organizations focused on education or access to education advocacy. And we've asked them that if you're interested, please go ahead and register. This is our platform and we are looking to build an advocacy body. And I was amazed that we received nearly 500 applications just in 2 or 3 weeks from individuals, from organizations based in different countries, including organizations that they were a coalition. They were actually a network in their regions, in their respective countries. And right now, I can happily report that we have nearly 200 organizational members and nearly 70 individual members, education activists, defenders, and platforms actively talking about education across 43 countries, including Asia, Europe, Africa. Since building this platform, and I think it's in the last 2 months, we've started talking about our members and we've posted, it is public, our website is available. So if audience is interested, they can just go and check out who these individuals and organizations are. And right now we are busy in building up some partnership. But during this time, we've launched 2 successful online campaign. The first campaign was Afghan Girls Access to Education, part of Malala Fund's initiative, Education Champions project. So what we did was basically giving our platform to Afghan girls and women that they've been denied access to education, either school or colleges and universities. And we've posted their testimonials, their names, and in some scenarios, if they've had their consent, their pictures, that what is going on and how it is for them. So we've given them access to our platform, being mindful of that sometimes we as activists residing here, maybe there is a bit of concern around legitimacy compared to the ones actually on the ground that they are facing the challenge. So that was the first campaign. The second campaign was about gender apartheid, recognizing gender apartheid going on the ground, because the conversations started in late 2023, and we've had activists and defenders talking about what's going on in Afghanistan is actually gender apartheid. And then we named it and we've used the wording and the term of our platform. We also had an IWD event, an online event with all members where we've discussed on the importance of girls' access to education, but also with the focus on Afghanistan context, actually happened, the actual situation of gender apartheid, naming the gender apartheid where we give our platform access to an individual from within Afghanistan speaking from Herat, and she talked about what's going on and how it really affects the community. The kind of work I've been busy doing with EDN, and I'll continue defining my advocacy skills and skills here. I think as success, I would say initially we started with this question that how we want this platform to grow. And then with the vision for a global movement of calling for access to education for individuals across the globe, any country, any context, especially with the focus on war-affected countries and fragile contexts. So that was the whole idea behind building EDN. I and my partner discussed that, okay, let's start with this vision in mind and let's see how it goes. Let's see how it grows. Then we started receiving applications and we've noticed that how demanding it is and how important it is. So there is a unity, there is a solidarity within the communities, regardless of from where they're coming. When we talk about education, it's not only about a right, but it's more about someone's existence, like in Afghanistan's context. Then we've noticed that after receiving all these applications, looking at these applications, how amazing these individuals were. We've given them our platform, they're introduced on our platforms, and I've noticed that there you go. We have our platform right now. We are a global advocacy body focused on education. And what we have done is to have them all under one umbrella. Activists, diaspora communities, policymakers, even practitioners. And now we can use it. That's where you are. Maybe you will find some position papers. Maybe you will find our call to UNGA or General Assembly, different meetings, the Human Rights Commission meeting where we've joined over 100 organizations and we've called for gender apartheid recognition in Afghanistan and holding power holders and interest holders accountable for their policies towards the current de facto government. That's where I guess I've noticed that, my gosh, we're not there yet. Our vision is still standing. We are still determined to walk towards that. But look at this. This is amazing. It is beautiful. It is a strong, and I would definitely call that as a success when it comes to eating. About challenges, I guess the very first challenge for me was balancing settlement and my advocacy work. So looking for a job, making sure that I have the required income as a newcomer, as an immigrant woman, supporting my family, making sure that I'm paying my needs on time, I'm having enough for groceries and everything as a newcomer. But besides that, also following my passion as an advocate, but also making sure that whatever work that I'm doing, it is really aligned with my background, which is a struggle in Canadian labor market, especially for immigrant and newcomers. So you have to start with survival job and then you have to proceed with your desired job. But I was fortunate enough, and maybe due to my language skills or my background, I was able to secure a job where it really kind of resonates with my background and matches what I've been doing in my home country. That really gave me a bit of energy to start focusing on what I'm really passionate about. So that was the very first issue. And it took some time. It took, I think, more than 8 months to figure out, to put things in order and to make sure that I have time, I have energy as a human. Because at the end of the day, once you deal with everything, then you have a human capacity. So you need to make sure that your capacity is aligned with what you're intended to do. That was the first thing. The second piece was more about this responsibility, the heaviness of responsibility feeling on your shoulder. That, okay, I'm struggling with different things, resettling in a new country, trying to learn their ways, trying to adjust, offering that care and love to my family members and loved ones that they were here, not forgetting about them. But what about my responsibility that I hold for my country, for my people, and especially for Afghan girls and women? So that was really something that I felt strong, and it really affected me. There were months of struggling, anxiety, a bit of depression as well, finding that common ground where I could do something, that I could support myself in a new country, but also I could tackle what I'm really responsible for. So that was the second thing that I really felt. And it is kind of the same for other activists in exile as well. The third thing that comes to my mind is about, I've mentioned it, it's about the legitimacy of your work. So I've started talking about the situation, attending sessions, different platforms, international, national, or just discussing with activists. And after 6 months or 8 months, I've noticed that there is a question around that, okay, you are now safe, you are somewhere else. You don't know about what's going on in the context. So do you have the right to talk about it? Do you have the right? Are you in position to offer suggestion or solution or something? So there was a bit of moment around reflecting, like, what I can do. Can I be just a listener? Can I just observe? Or can I just facilitate a session where I can have others to come in and I let them speak up? So finding that middle ground there was also an issue for me. And luckily, I've done that job with EDN right now with what's going on after 3 to 4 years. Right now, sometimes there are days that I feel that, am I in the right position to talk about this, or should I reach out to someone with the actual experience, with the actual on the ground narrative, and give them this opportunity to talk about it? So even the way that I'm talking about it, the kinds of terms and wording that I'm using, and the invitation that I'm having for always being there, an active listener, a facilitator, a platform giver or facilitator, that's something that I'm seeing as a challenge with other things that are coming in, being an immigrant and newcomer in Canada, which is common for everyone. So yeah, those were the three major stuff that I wanted to bring in here. I think this is more kind of cliche thing when you have a message, but I like to have some reminders. I guess I have it for myself. I use my digital tools for those reminders, but besides that, I like to also use a reminder word here. Anyone watching this video or this interview on Exile's website or hearing us, I'd say what is going on in different countries when it comes to gender equity or education, it is a joint responsibility. It's a collective responsibility to talk about it, regardless of where you are. Canada has always been very intentional and informed when it comes to tackling important matters, even internationally. So Canada's role and what happened in Afghanistan and how the support was offered to activists and leaders were impressive. It is impressive. They've given us a great opportunity to be here and to use some of the platforms and resources here and to continue working and building our skills, polish, and be more in a greater position. But beside that, I would say the solidarity is needed in any step, regardless of where someone is coming in. So to public, I would say join in and amplify voices, support organizations like EDN, not EDN, any other group where you see a group of people very intentional, very informed, and want to work something. So join their cause and be part of their initiative. You can take even a smaller role, be a volunteer and support a defender, let's say based in Afghanistan or any other country, that offering them mentorship. There is always a lens when it comes to offering support to refugees. It's not always about sponsorship or financial pathways. There are small acts of kindness that matter. So I would say even joining platforms like our platform and supporting voluntarily offering mentorship to some individuals that they are in Afghanistan and supporting their education journey, that would matter a lot. To policymakers, I'd say it is more about offering inclusive and accessible programming, supporting organizations and their journey, like our organization. So one of the things that I've faced as a challenge after establishing, okay, it is registered. What's next? What about funding? And since registering the organization till now, it is self-funded. It's all volunteer run. It's run by myself and other individuals that we are really passionate this thing in this cause without receiving any funding. So that's another thing that when it comes to policymakers, I would like to highlight here to support these newly established organizations, their vision to build their capacity that they can tackle the issues with more resources. For allies, I'd say keep doing what you're doing. And this is the great thing that you are doing. Join coalitions, use your voice up, and talk more about it. So these are some reminders that I always keep and what really pushes me going forward and being active and being mindful of what I'm doing